Hello students, welcome back to the class. Today we can go through the poem The Earthworm's Monologue by Elizabeth Jennings. Okay children, now let us know about the poet Elizabeth Jennings. Elizabeth Jennings was born in the year 1926. She was an English poet. She published her first collection of poetry in 1953 and was famous for her consistent devotion to poetry. Jennings wrote over 20 books on poetry, including new collected poems. She died in the year 2001. Now, let us go through the poem, The Earthworm's Monologue. Okay, children, the title of the poem is The Earthworm's Monologue. Children, what is a monologue? Monologue is a long speech spoken by one person, or in other words, we can say that in a monologue, a single speaker addresses one or two persons who do not speak, but whose presence we strongly feel. So, in this poem, who is the speaker or the leading character, children? Yes, the speaker is the earthworm, who is giving a long speech. Therefore, the poem is about an earthworm talking about its life. The earthworm is speaking to a person who is presumably present with it in the garden. The earthworm's monologue. Children, do you find any figure of speech here? Yes, the figure of speech is personification. Why? It is because we can see the earthworm speaking about its life. See the poem, children. Birds prey on me, fish are fond of my flesh. My body is like a sausage. It lacks the snake's sinuous splendor and color. Yes, I'm absurd. Yet I also till and soften the soil. Okay. Birds prey on me, fish are fond of my flesh. The earthworm begins its monologue by saying or lamenting that birds feed on it. It also says that fish likes its flesh. Children, how is earthworm a food for fish? Have you ever seen a person catching fish? What do you think? How does he do that? Either he spreads the fishing net on the water or he uses a fishing rod to catch the fish. Usually, an earthworm is tied at the end of the hook and it is used as a bait or food for the fish. In short, the earthworm states that it is the food for birds and fish. My body is like a sausage. It lacks the snake's sinuous splendor and color. You see, children, here the earthworm says that its body is just like a sausage. I hope you all know what is the meaning of sausage, right? Sausage is nothing but a food item in the form of a cylindrical length. Just have a look into your book, children. Can you see the picture? The earthworm looks just like a sausage. The earthworm further tells that it does not have many curves and turns like that of a snake. When a snake moves or slithers, we can see the curves and turns. The earthworm laments or regrets, telling that even though it resembles a snake, it is not bright and attractive like that of a snake. That is, it feels dull and colorless when compared to the snake. Yes, I'm absurd. Children, here we can see that The earthworm frankly tells that it is very odd in appearance. It looks funny and people laugh at it. Yet, I also till and soften the soil. The earthworm tells that even though its body is like a sausage, though it is not magnificent and splendid in appearance like that of a snake, yet it prepares the land for crops. It makes the soil fertile. Children, earthworms are gardeners' best friends. You must have watched the farmers plowing soil. Earthworms act as this plow. As they move through soil, they make tunnels. They come up to the top layer of the soil to excrete. These excreta or castings are rich nutrients that help in plant health. I prepare the way for flowers. Spring depends upon me at least a little. Mock me if you will. Cut me in half. I'll come together again. But haven't you felt a fool? Hated your shape? Wanted to hide? Okay. I prepare the way for flowers. Spring depends upon me at least a little. Now, the earthworm tells that it helps the flowers, crops and trees to grow. You see, children, spring is full of life. It brings life to the entire earth. Earthworm tells that the spring season depends upon it because it tills the soil, softens the soil, and thereby prepare the bed for flowers to bloom. The earthworm tells that even if it has a little part to play, it has got a lot of significance or importance to bring life back on earth after winter season. Mock me if you will. Cut me in half. I'll come together again. See, children, the earthworm tells that people mock or laugh at it. Definitely, the earthworm feels miserable when it is mocked at. But the earthworm tells the readers that it has a unique quality. That is, if it is cut in half, it can join back or it can come together again. But haven't you felt a fool? Hated your shape? Wanted to hide? Now, see, children. The earthworm asks the reader or the person present in the garden if he or she has ever felt a fool of himself or herself, hated his or her shape, wanted to hide himself or herself because of his or her physical appearance. If so, I'm your friend. I would sympathize with you were I not so busy. But bend down over me, you who are not yet tall, and be proud of all you contain in a body so small. If so, I'm your friend. I would sympathize with you were I not so busy. Now, the earthworm asks the reader not to worry about his or her physical appearance and tells or assures that the earthworm is there to support him or her. See, children, the earthworm also tells that it would have liked to sympathize with the reader but cannot do so because it is busy tilling the soil. But bend down over me, you who are not yet tall. Now, the earthworm asks the person present in the garden to bend over it and take a closer look at it. Here, the person present in the garden is not yet tall. What does it mean, children? It means that the earthworm is talking to a child. And be proud of all you contain in a body so small. The earthworm asks the reader or the person present in the garden not to feel sad looking at his or her physical appearance. Instead, it advises the person to be proud of himself or herself because each one is unique in this world. Children, sometimes you might not be appreciated by everyone. You might be mocked or teased. Sometimes you might not appreciate yourself. Maybe because you're not beautiful or handsome, you're too fat, maybe you are too tall or too short, so on and so forth. But you have to admit who you are. You have to see your positive sides or strengths. Then only you will be able to see the beauty within yourself. So children, the poem conveys the message of self-confidence and belief in self, regardless of shape and size. It also conveys that the only way to keep negative thoughts away is to focus on our strengths and to be proud of oneself. The title of the poem, The Earthworm's Monologue, makes it clear that the poem's narrator is one of the earthworms. The poem opens with a very realistic tone, and the earthworm tells the readers that it is the source of food for birds and also the fish. An earthworm is not like a snake and it lacks the color. However, the earthworm also tells the readers that it plays an important role in making the soil fertile and thus helping the flowers, crops, and trees in growing. Spring season also owes much to the earthworms. People often tend to mock the earthworms, but it tells the readers that even if it is cut in two halves, the earthworm will become one again. Finally, the earthworm tells the bystander, which seems to be a child, I will sympathize with you if you are afraid or if you are not happy with yourself. Thank you.